Hello, everybody. My name is Zerduku, and these are the opinions of Evil Dead, the game. Since I played enough of it as it is, um, I just want to give my opinions and give some insight to possibly the developers of the game, which I'm pretty darn sure none of them are watching, but I really feel that I should have voiced my opinion if you don't mind. So first thing that we need to wipe off the map here is that some people like to compare this to Dead by Daylight. Um, no, Dead by Daylight is more like a game of tag versus what Evil Dead seems to be like. When I played Evil Dead, the first thing that popped in my mind, especially when I watched the teaser trailer of it, was kind of like if you took an RPG game, the kind of games where it's normally met and usually set in a medieval setting, but it's the idea of going around finding powerful weapons to fight monsters like demons and skeletons and yada yada yada. Basically, that's the game experience. And for my point of view, I would have to say the game is good for people who like RPG games like that, especially if they want to go against a dungeon master, basically. The idea of the killer is kind of like a a, a kind of like kind of like a spirit that's not really there. It just sets like little things, and every now and then can possess certain pieces to do as much damage as possible. Even possessing other players. That's what's kind of like the game is kind of like. It's like if you're going to, it's kind of like a game of D&D, but it's kind of a slightly different, and it's more set of a kind of like a horror game kind of deal. And honestly, I think that's a cool idea. It's really awesome. And to be honest, that is a cool idea and it's a good concept they worked with. But the problem is they fucked it up a little bit. It's not that bad. They kind of screwed with it a little bit. They made some really bad mistakes. So I have here a list of things that they can approve. Of course, looking at this, you probably be like, "What the hell is this?" It's just a list of stuff. There's nothing really here. Well, this is just to help me remind me what to talk about. So now that I'm done telling about the experience of the game, let's talk about the missions. The missions are where you unlock characters and uh, and stuff like that, but you have to complete them completely to order to unlock the characters. My main gripe with it is that there's no save points. I can understand if you're playing it online, because why would you have save points? Uh, and another gripe I have is you have to kill bosses that are normally met if you have like a whole team. That's a problem. Doing that by yourself, it's almost impossible. I mean, of course, what about there? Save points would be nice because you could get multiple tries, but the issue is that it's really, really difficult. You have to be extremely lucky. And I think any game that's based on luck is not worth playing, to be honest, because it just becomes rage inducing. It's almost as if you created a rage game and not an RPG game, which I'm pretty darn sure what you guys were aiming for. Actually, I think you guys were aiming more for a horror game, but yet again, just like Dead by Daylight, you kind of missed the mark on that. But that's fine. You can hit a different target and be fine with it, to be honest. And honestly, the idea of an RPG horror game kind of is actually pretty good. The game is not necessarily scary, it's just fun. It's downright fun, and that's why it's addicting. But going back to the missions, it's just way too difficult. I understand that unlocking characters can be good, can make the could make the players OP, but it's not necessarily true. Upon to my discovery, is that the characters you unlock are not OP by any standards, in my opinion, and I kind of feel like you should have just started them from the bat. But having missions adds more substance to the game, which is a good idea. I just feel like they kind of fucked it up with the difficulty of what they want you to do. It's way too difficult, and that's an issue. So, what do we got next on my list? Let's take a look. All right, on online missions. At first, I was gonna say it's kind of stupid that you don't give. Well, actually, I kind of understand why you don't give, information with, you know, the survivors. Personally, I don't like the idea that they give you Pacific directions where you can get the maps, because it's a little bit unfair because the Kandarian demon doesn't know where they are, making it extremely unfair, making it like it's well, one of the problems with it is that you don't actually feel like you're playing with the other players as much, which is not very. I don't know. It doesn't. It makes it a little less fun and more rage inducing. It's a problem. And if this continues, I think at one point I'm just gonna quit playing the game because otherwise it just becomes too stupid. Um, let's see here. Yeah, I think one of the way to solve that problem is to just give clues where, like, if you go around and there's a bunch of little clues. Another problem I really, really have, both in the missions and on the online thing, is how stingy the game is on items. I can understand being stingy on heal items and the shield thingies and whatever, but being stingy on ammo and weapons is a big problem because it makes it less fun and yet again more rage inducing and makes me want to quit the game. And I think that's why a lot of people quit, because they can't find the stuff they're looking for, and it just winds up either getting them killed or just downright just making them completely useless on the team, which is not helpful in any issue. I think the best thing to do is kind of take a little liberties from Unreal Tournament. When you have guns lying around, make sure the guns are right next to not one but two packs of ammo. Make sure it's enough ammo for you to use for a good portion of the game. That would be useful. Yeah, um, that would be so useful. But you know what? I'm just gonna move on to the next thing since I have a lot of stuff here. I'm pretty darn sure I'll go back to more about the online missions. Yeah, the combat. Yeah, that's another thing that needs to be mentioned. I hate the whole you swing a certain amount of times and you just stop. No, don't do that. It'd be awesome if you can spam a spam hit, even the Kandarian demon. It'd be better. It would be a lot more satisfying and a lot more play easier to play. You may think, oh, that will give too much power to the demon. No, it won't, because if you also give it to the survivors and they have a legendary weapon and they can just spam swing as much as they want, then it becomes an even game for the most part. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that can make any of the players stronger than the others has to do with weapons, and also what you put your stats in, which means there's a combination of skill and strategy, which would make it much more fun and more engaging, and like that. Um, yeah, and I really feel like you should start spam. Another thing about shooting, the shooting thing is fine for the most part, but the only issue is that you move very, very slow when you're aiming. I really feel like you should be able to move just as fast as if you were not aiming at the same time when you're aiming, because that gives you more mobility to a dodge attack while you're shooting. Yet again, it would be more engaging for more strategy and more, gameplay. And because that the demon or whatever it is can also spam swing, can also do that. Also, yeah, well, you know what? We'll go on to the Kandarian demon. My problem with the Kandarian demon is that he does when you play as him, you don't know where the maps are. I really feel like there should be markers. So, faraway markers, and you try to guess which ones the survivors are going to go for, or where the survivors are. This gives you the ability to actually play with the other players. And yes, it would, and also it makes it makes the game more intense. So the both the survivors and the Kandarian demon can be all about trying to outsmart each other in a certain way. And teamwork is part of that. And speaking of teamwork, I kind of feel like the way the game is now with the teamwork thing, uh, I kind of feel like the game requires another demon, like if you have I really feel like there should be an option to have like not one but two demons working together to make it more fair. And that could be helpful because then the game can just keep going and stuff. Uh, going back to combat, I kind of wish that the healing abilities were more instantaneous versus you have to wait until you do the animation or whatever, and you can. The whole being stopped thing is okay to a certain extent for an online game, but when you're playing missions, it's unnecessary. Speaking of which, going back to the missions, the game was so stingy on heal items and shield things, it's not fair. And I also kind of wish you can level up your characters while you're doing it. What I mean by leveling up is by adding more stats so you can do better against whatever it is you have to face for the missions. Make it a little more easier that way. Um, let's see. Anything else? Let's see. Oh yes, the car. Where do I begin? It's a cheapskate. It's nothing but a fucking cheat code for the survivors. And let me explain why. All four survivors can get inside of the car and can get to one place or another. Yes, the Kandarian demon can possess it, but the problem is you can't run into anybody. Otherwise, it just keeps you from. Otherwise, it just kicks you out and you can't possess it again. That is bullshit. You should make the cars as kind of like a double-edged sword, where yeah, the cars can give you the place to place, but it also makes you extremely vulnerable to the demon. And how you could do this is the demon can have a choice to either lock the people in and cause the car to explode and make everybody die, or you can make it so even if they do escape, you can run them over and don't have to worry about being kicked out. But as the demon is possessing things, there are infernal energy drains. Uh, oh yes, that reminds me. There's the trees. Yeah, I don't like the tree possessing the tree thing. The possessing tree thing is extremely useless, and also it doesn't play very well to the whole Evil Dead. In the Evil Dead, the actual ranches and stuff grab onto people. And one way you can do this is that what it can do is stun the survivors and pull them into like the tree's chomping mouth, and they have to escape. And the two ways they can do is struggle and get loose, or another survivor comes by and cut the roots. And yet again, it drains your frontal energy when you spam it uh, by a lot. So it's kind of just make it kind of like a double-edged sword yet again, where it's good and bad at the same time. And I'm out of time, but that's okay because I'm going to continue on anyways. I'm pretty darn sure this video will be easy to upload. Um, yeah. Uh, Speaking of the Kentari Demon, there needs to be more classes, but I do understand that the game kind of just started, so and it's an online game, so people can add more stuff later. Um, I have a ton of ideas for the classes that you can add. And to be honest, yet again, you have to understand that not everything from the book has been shown on the TV show or the movies. I feel like there is a wide a variety of powerful, both weak and powerful demons that have not been shown. So that gives kind of like an open door to endless possibilities that you can add to the game. And yet again, that opens up my imagination as a writer of what you can throw in there. But the thing is, even if I announce my idea, something tells me you guys are going to ignore me, or you guys are never going to see this video because I get ignored all the time. I'm not a popular YouTuber, but I am a fan of Evil Dead. I'm not a super fan, but I am a big fan. I watched all the movies and I watched the entire TV show. and I actually enjoy it. It's actually, in my opinion, it's kind of like a really goofy. It's kind of like a comedy horror movie, and it's really good for the most part. But that's just, but that's all about me talking about the movie. We're here to talk about the game. Um, yeah, I think that's. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the terrain. This is a problem with all video games in general. It's so easy for you to get stuck on a rock or a tree on the ground or anything. I really feel like if it was in real life, you can just climb over it. I really feel like there should be like a climbing button. I know there's a button that you can hop over fences, but there's not a button where you can just climb over stuff. And you may be thinking, oh, that make it too difficult for the Kandarian demon because I put it, or the you just get that ability to the demons as well, where they can jump over fences and and then to just jump over, climb over certain obstacles. That would make it easier. Also, another thing I need to mention, I probably forgot to talk about the maps in general, and not the maps you collect, but the areas that you play in. I really feel like it's nothing but woods, and that's a problem because it gets really boring real fast for people who are playing. Uh, in the TV show and the movies, there's a lot of things you can do. You can make a medieval map. You can make a town map. Or even a city. Or, and one of my great ideas, what if you had a giant S-Mart mall, a really huge, amazing map to play in? That would be awesome because not only you'd be running around a store killing demons and whatever, you'll be going around a place where Ash used to work. Well, actually, he worked in a store, not a mall, but you get the idea. But still, the idea of a S-Mart mall would be kind of cool. But that's just how it is, how I think about that. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all I think I have for ideas. If I do forget some stuff, I think I'll put it down in the comments, down in the description below, if anything I might have forgot. But please like and subscribe, and this is Zerduku signing out.